Okay, so I gotta talk about something that's, I don't know, something that's been going on for too long, but for a while, and I'm gonna address that, and then I'll get into just this, like, whatever topic it is that I'm putting up first. But there's just a lot that's going on in my personal life right now that I can't talk about, and there's too many things going on that I just don't have the energy to process at this point, good or bad. For example, like even with my channel, I'm about to get 5K subs. I said that, maybe I could do something when I reach that little milestone, but I can't even focus on that right now because my life is just like real life stuff is just really messing me up in the head. And yeah. So it's just there's too many things happening all at once, and it's just the worst time for everything to happen right now because of the stuff I'm dealing with. And I've been mentioning it every now and then, but I'm just at this point where like I gotta take care of my life and just my life, and then I'll come back to this. So at the same time, there's just some dilemma going on with my channel, and I don't know the severity of it. I've had like a few people coming up to me like on my social media, supporters of mine, who want to talk about these issues and how to fix them. And I've had this conversation with a number of people now, and I don't know the best way to fix it. So some people are saying don't address it at all in a video. Some people are saying just do this and don't say anything. Some people are saying like, oh, just ignore it. Some people are saying do this and blah, blah, blah. The problem with everyone's suggestions is that they all think that their suggestion is the best suggestion, right? Like that's what you think, or else you wouldn't suggest it. So the fact that you think that it's like, I can't go with just your suggestion because it makes sense to you. I can't just go with theirs just because it makes sense to them. And you're all bringing stuff up to me that I didn't consider in the first place, so I can't go with my own suggestions. So in the end, I'm probably just going to pick a mix of things. But I really appreciate the fact that people felt comfortable enough with talking to me about this stuff, and I have been screwing up, and I do need to fix this issue. So I'm just gonna lay it out here because I think that it's important to just be open and honest about things. And, it's not like I've done anything that's actually that bad. It's just a lot of petty stuff that's just gotten out of hand. So basically, I kind of alluded to this before, but I've never actually explained it, so I don't mind explaining it now. But with my channel, when you look at YouTubers who explain like how to, put videos out on things that you want to talk about, they tell you either need to find your audience or create it. And it's like the audience that I was looking for is one that just doesn't have a community where you can share videos with those people, because my videos are literally all about like abuse and, victims and like how the world is like falling apart and all this stuff that there's just not a community for. Like even if it is, half the time they're hypocritical and they're doing it too. So the people who I'm trying to find, there's no way to get to them except for the only idea I ever thought of, which I've been doing for like a year now, maybe a little bit more. I don't know how to explain this, but like I basically would make my videos target the people who are causing the problem more, because I understand the psychology of those people, and people don't like to be told about themselves. So what are they going to do? They're going to share it around with their friends who think like them, or who they at least think like them, and they're going to come back to the video and dislike it. They're going to come back, they're going to dislike it, they're going to comment. And for the ones who didn't watch it, I would just tell them like, you didn't even watch it, which would make them watch it, and then they would argue some more. So they don't realize that that's supporting me. You're helping my videos grow. They didn't understand that, so that's why they kept doing it. If I hadn't have done that, I had two like not huge channels but pretty big channels shout me out, which I haven't even been able to do a video about. I'm not going to be able to do one right now. But those people, they shouted me out, and they never would have if I hadn't have been doing what I was doing, because they wouldn't even seen the video. Like a lot of people who are like on my social media right now are admitting that they found my channel through some of my most disliked videos. And I'm like, yeah, that was the goal. The goal was for these idiots to share their stuff around. I learned this back when the whole Nicole Arbor thing happened. I learned that a lot of the people who were spreading her video, like there was a good chunk of people who would spread her video around purposefully to people who they knew would get their feelings hurt listening to what she had to say. I knew that that was a thing. So these people I realized that these messed up people have these groups where they share stuff and then they try to hurt other people. That's when I learned about that, and I looked into it more. And I thought maybe I should try to find those groups so that when they share it around, those few voices that are like, that she making a little bit of sense, subscribe. And listen to what I have to say. So that's why I would purposefully trigger those people, shamelessly so, because they're already messed up people. They're manipulative and all that other stuff. And so I don't care if they get their feelings hurt, because everything I'm saying I mean. But I'm just purposefully making sure that those are the people who hear it, because I know that they're going to spread the video around. So that's why I had no problem with what I was doing, because I wanted to find that audience of people who actually think critically on stuff, actually want to hear what needs to be said. And there was just no way to reach those people. The only website I ended up finding was Guru Gossiper. And there's a whole thing with that I need to look into, where like one of my subscribers tried to share one of my videos on there, and they wanted to make a topic about iDubbbz. And so they made a topic and they got banned without a warning just from making the topic. And they told me that the mod said there's nothing wrong with him. And I was like, what? So you allow people to make a thread about Stephanie Sue and say all the horrible, like there was some horrible stuff about her in there, but you won't even let a thread be made about iDubbbz? Like that's just clear corruption. And I want to look into that issue more to like try to see if there's something that can be done to make sure that that's not something that can happen, because I just don't think that there's any reason for my subscriber to lie about it, you know? So I actually do want to see if there's like something that can be done to like get around whatever mod that is, because that's not the website's issue. It's not even with all the mods, but whoever it is that was doing that, they're just a biased person, you know? But that's already something that's getting in the way of trying to use that platform, which is the only place where I've found the type of people who I would actually want to gain as an audience. So anyway, my point is, I never would have found any of these people if I hadn't made the kind of videos that I did or talked about the stuff that I did, and everything that I said I meant. So I had no shame in it. The problem is, it made it hard trying to manage those people in the comments. There were situations where people would say things where I was like, should I actually censor that? Because is that like going against, is that a censorship within itself? You know, and I wanted to do a video about like free speech to talk about it. And then I would like explain what I constitute as free speech and what I don't, because as I've said many times before, I believe in freedom of speech as an American, meaning free speech laws. And there's just certain things that are and aren't protected under free speech, because there are things that are considered censorship, and the whole point of free speech is that you can't censor others. I'm just going to talk about that now because I want to do this, and some people didn't think I should talk about this. Whatever, I'm going to do what works for me. I feel comfortable doing this makes me feel better, so I'm going to do it. In freedom of speech, you're not allowed to incite violence. You're not allowed to threaten to do something to other people, because that within itself is a form of censorship. If you're going to do something to someone else for their opinion, you're basically trying to censor their opinion. You're not allowed to harass others, because again, it's trying to silence other voices when you harass someone. You're not allowed to, say that you're going to hurt yourself. That's why it's against the law to do those things, because that is a form of like censoring yourself in a way. That's what all comes down to. Like everything in the laws of freedom of speech have to do with censorship, like avoiding you censoring other people. That's why it's against the law to yell bomb or fire in a building, because you're basically trying to get people out of that building. That is within itself a form of censorship. Spamming is a form of censorship, because you're trying to silence voices that you don't agree with by spamming your own opinion. And you could easily share your opinion in one post. That's why we have character limits in YouTube, and there's there's a lot of character limits on YouTube for you to not just post. If you have multiple things to say, you could just respond to your own comment to avoid spam. And I've been spammed twice on my channel, and only twice, so I never thought anything of it. One time it was this guy who was just so mad. He was just so mad, and he was just calling me every name in the book, and he was like, I know that this stuff hurts you. I'm like, you're just saying names, like why should I care? Like, it's even if any of the things you said were true, it's just your opinion. Like, who are you? You're not changing my life. Your opinion doesn't matter. So I just didn't really care to censor it, because I'm like, to me, he just looks like an idiot. So I'm just like, you can be an idiot if you want to. And I wasn't really getting comments like that back then anyway, because that's when I was still starting out with trying to reach those people. So I don't know. At the time, I just didn't know if I should actually delete it or not. I didn't know if he really had a right to say those things or not. And I am someone, as I've said, who bases my morals off of not trying to be a hypocrite. I don't want to be a hypocrite. I don't want to base my morals on a hypocritical foundation. If I can't explain why something is wrong, I'm not going to confidently believe that it's a wrong thing to do, And at the time, I just couldn't explain myself. So I was like, I'll leave them up because whatever. Doesn't affect me, so who cares? But that's where I made the first mistake. I should have done something about that back then, because it was wrong. And people have talked to me about that, and I understand that now, hearing other perspectives. As I've said before, I clearly don't know everything. I just know certain things that I know, and even when it comes to those things, I don't know everything. I feel like we should all share perspectives and try to listen to things that make sense if they make sense. And people were pointing out to me, when you leave those comments up and you don't get rid of that type of spam, it's not constructive, it's not not about the video. It's literal slander, and it's, you know, it's spam. You know, those are things that just aren't allowed already on YouTube. If you leave it up, it's like you're condoning it. And I'm like, okay, I didn't think of it that way at the time, you know? So that was a really good point that was made to me. And so I should have fixed it back then, but you know, I didn't think of it at the time. Then there was this whole thing with this other person who was just out of his mind crazy. And he was just going all over my videos saying random stuff. Again, if you want to say you don't like me, you're perfectly fine to do that. If you want to say how much you don't like me, say whatever you want. I don't care. It's your opinion. It doesn't mean anything about who I am as a person. It's just your opinion. I don't like you either. So it's not like you're controlling my life. I don't need to change myself for you personally. But this person was hell bent on like trying to destroy my confidence or something, because he would bring in his friends. Like there's like a literal group forming at this point of like people who really hate me, and like it's insane. Every single time he comments, his little friends come in, and then they try to, you know, like they're like literally slandering me at this point, where they're accusing me of breaking the law. They're accusing me of plagiarizing other people's content and stealing people's content, and insinuating that I got rid of the original channels that made those content when I've never done anything like that, and there's no evidence to support it. You can't accuse people of breaking the law stated as a fact without any evidence or at least any context. You're just not allowed to do that. It's literally against the law. So I shouldn't have left that there, but it was kind of a snowball effect, because people always start off what they do as something small and they just try to see more and more of what they can get away with, right? Like that's something I've talked about before. So in those situations, I had to ask myself, because I care, the point is I care about the decisions that I make. I don't want to just do things because I personally don't like it, you know? That's why I say we should try to be as objective as possible. So I just kept asking myself, should these be gotten rid of because it's just wrong? Or is it actually something that should be allowed to be said? That's what I was wondering, you know? And it's hard as a person for you to judge yourself the same way you judge others. I don't know why. It's hard to explain, but it's a literal thing in psychology where the judgments that we give ourselves is not the same way we judge others. People like to say we judge ourselves worse than we judge others, but it depends. Sometimes we give ourselves more passes on stuff than we give other people, and sometimes we judge ourselves harshly and we won't judge others the same way. It depends on the scenario. But the point is, we look at ourselves in a different perspective than we look at others. That's just something that humans do in general. So that's why a lot of the stuff I just didn't really care about, because I was like, you know, I mean, as long as it's happening to me, it's whatever. It's not going to make me lose sleep overnight at this stuff. So they can say whatever they want. I don't care. But what I wasn't thinking about is, again, that perspective of, well, if you leave it there, then they're going to feel like it's okay to do it to other people. And I was like, that's true. And that I'm not okay with. And once I saw that, because they did that, they were literally harassing like a hardcore supporter of mine, who even that person themselves admitted that they had said something petty. They corrected someone over a typo. That's it. The person was telling me that my art sucks, and they were telling me that I make subpar content. And they were speaking very pretentiously, but they spelled subpar as subpart. So the person just simply said, you can't even like spell subpar right, and you're trying to criticize her and act like you're this smart person. And they turned it into this whole big thing that was just insane. Like they were just calling this supporter of mine all these horrible things, like insinuating that they were this psychopathic manipulator, lying, because they're like, I never changed my comment. And then everyone just kept piling on them. And I was like, I mean, I could just go get the screenshot. Like I have the notification shows your original comment. And I did send it to them because, again, this person is like a really hardcore supporter of mine. They've been here for like 2 years. And so we talk on like social media and stuff, because a couple of people have been like, is this your alternate account? And I'm like, we literally talk on social media. So they'll like send me comments, and then they'll send me the link to the comment, and then that's why I'll like go and like comment, or I'll like go and look at it and stuff like that. We just talk like in DMs. But yeah, like it was just so sad. Like they were all just going after that person for something as simple as a typo, and they said, you're making up, no, you're a liar, blah blah blah. And they're basically trying to make that person question their insanity. With me personally, if they had did it to me, you know, that's the type of stuff where I just be like, I mean, whatever, I'm just not gonna keep talking to you. Like that's the end of that. And the sad thing with this guy is that he had a moment where he actually admitted that he liked some of the stuff I had to say in my videos. Like that's why I say he is a yandere, because he honestly does agree with some of the things that I've said, but he came in with the Stephanie Sue videos, and so there's certain things I said that he just does not like, and ever since then he's just had this mission to just like try to put me down. Like he's a very abusive person in general, because one of the things that he said about me was, hey, like, you know, your channel means nothing. It's just like your channel, it's not going anywhere. It doesn't mean anything because your content's horrible, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, it's just objectively not true. I just got 80 subs. Like I just got 80 subs in a week. And then him and his friends are like, ha, you're bragging about 80 subs. I wasn't bragging. I was telling you why you were objectively wrong. And so now they're going around saying she's going around bragging about blah, blah. I'm over it at this point. Like I can't. The line that was drawn for me was two things. One, when you accuse me of doing something illegal, that's it. Like, okay, there's no more debate. Like you're a horrible person and I let this get out of hand. Two, when you go after my subs and you're harassing them and you're creating a literal group of people. Like, it's so sad. He sent a comment out on my last video and my video had 17 likes, 3 dislikes, and it had like 140 views. I woke up the next morning and after he sent that comment out right when I went to sleep. Woke up the next morning, the video had 314 views and 20 dislikes. And all his like friends had commented at the same time as him. So there's like this literal group of people who are like obsessed. Like they're literally obsessed. I don't understand that mentality, but it's getting out of hand because there's just certain rules that you're breaking that aren't okay. And I don't condone you harassing other people and bullying. Basically, you're literally bullying. So I apologize to the two people that they've done this to. I'm not aware of any other people that this has happened to. The hardcore supporter of mine is the one who they've done this to more than anyone else, aside from myself, but because they just started with them. And then there was one other person who they had bullied. I am honestly sorry. And it's just the perspective I had wasn't the right perspective to have. And I really appreciate people coming up to me and giving me suggestions on how I should go about handling this issue. And so some people are saying you just should ban them. I'm like, well, I don't want to ban them and not like explain why I'm banning certain people. Because another thing is now they're going around saying you're deleting comments. I have yet to delete a single comment. Until this video goes up, nothing is getting deleted. I have deleted no comments. And they're like, well, it's convenient you say that because there's no evidence that can prove that you didn't. I'm like, yeah, so it's convenient that you're accusing me of deleting comments because there's no evidence that can prove that I didn't can do it. Just like how you accuse me of plagiarizing channels that are gone. I can't prove that I didn't do that because the channels are gone. You're just projecting. Like, this is what people do. They accuse their opponent of their own weakness. It's a manipulative tactic. It's very disgusting. But the point is, you're the one who made the accusation, not me. You have to provide the evidence. I'm just not going to allow that anymore. If you're going to accuse somebody of physically doing something and you have no evidence for it, it's just not allowed because that is textbook slander. Like, that's not even up for debate. That is just straight slander. It'd be one thing if it was just your opinion, but you're literally telling people it's a fact. And people are so dumb on YouTube because they don't realize that YouTube is broken. I send comments out to people all the time and it doesn't send. I have to refresh and check if it's there. I've sent comments out 10 times and it will not send. I don't know why YouTube does that. If you go to my live chat, there's a live chat, I think on the Markiplier video I made, the virus one. I mentioned that I lost 40 subscribers from him and people responded to it in the live chat. That message is not there in that live chat. It's not there. I never deleted it. And they responded to it and half of the conversation is missing. Like, there's certain parts that don't make sense because messages are missing from me and other people. The live chat also doesn't show the last comments that were sent. Like with my last live chat, people are suggesting I make a Discord. It's not in the live chat, even though we were talking about it. It cut off way earlier than when the video actually ended. So there's just so many messed up things about YouTube and people don't get that. And YouTube also flags things on its own. So these people are accusing me of deleting comments. And so someone was telling me that's not a big deal. Everyone gets accused of that. It is a big deal. That's the thing I disagree with. Someone's like mowing their lawn or something in the background. I can't do anything about that. So the thing is, it's like, that is a big deal because that woman from the Shane Dawson documentary, no one who knew she was before that. So she was a small channel and people were pissed off when she was censoring people who were telling her that as a therapist, for you to say the people who are sociopaths have no emotion is just a malpractice, you know? She's like, oh, I'm just gonna block you, you know, screw you. You were supposed to publicly apologize for that, and you just censored everyone anyway, you know? People had a right to be mad about that. For iDubbbz to have an entire channel about criticizing people and looking for examples and evidence and stuff, and then people are criticizing his girlfriend. I'm not saying iDubbbz deleted comments. I don't know, so I'm not going to say that. But PewDiePie said that he didn't think he was deleting comments. However, if he did, it would be okay. And PewDiePie is a fan of iDubbbz. That is a bad thing to say, you know? People had a big problem with him deleting comments because the things about his girlfriend have been proven. There is evidence to it. So it's not slander. It's people sharing their opinion with problems that they have with this woman because she's been shown to be a bully and other things as well. So for PewDiePie to just sit there and condone that was a problem. There's all sorts of instances. I shouldn't have to give these examples, but smaller YouTubers, Cosmic Carrie, you know, she would just censor people who would disagree with her, and they wouldn't say the nicest of things, but they didn't say things that were like against free speech, and she would get rid of them. And people got really mad at her for that. Now how they reacted to her was out of line. What they did to her was so wrong. But my point is, people clearly care about when you delete comments. Those are just a few examples of many. People care when you delete comments and you're not supposed to. They care about when you censor people. I also care about censoring people. So I really want to have a conversation about what is and is not free speech and why. I just never got to it because I didn't think it was that big of a deal. But now, right now, my channel has gotten like 300 subs in the past like month and a half or something, which is just like something that has not happened to me. Like lately I usually get like 5 subs in a week. So that's just like crazy for me. And I don't know, there's just too much going on. I don't really have, maybe the way I'm handling it isn't going to be the best way to do it, but I never been in this situation, so I don't know the best way to handle it, and I'm just going to do what works for me. The only problem is this has happened. Now there's a dog barking. The only problem is that this has happened at the worst time because of the stuff that's happening in my personal life, which is stressing me out. It's stressing me out. I have to take care of this stuff, and I just can't edit and work on videos while doing that. But luckily I have videos already made. It's just I can't interact with like comments and do premieres and live chats and stuff throughout this thing. My main point is I'm going to be leaving YouTube for like weeks and weeks. I'm still going to be uploading regularly, but I'm just not actually going to be there. And so that's why this whole spam thing is happening at the worst time. And these people accusing me of all this stuff that just isn't true. Like someone had said on my Markiplier video, can you please not delete my comment? You got mad at Markiplier for doing the same thing. I don't remember that I said I was mad at Markiplier for deleting comments, because when did he delete comments? I don't know. I just don't remember that, so I don't even understand that critique. But you have no proof that I deleted your comment. Why would I delete it? It doesn't make sense. And then this idiot and his friends are going over like, yeah, she does that all the time. Again, that's slander. I don't. You have no proof, and you're saying we all know she's this and that, blah blah blah. You can't keep saying that, because if you can say it about me, you're going to do it with other people too, people who don't have any sort of platform. I'm not even a big voice, but I can at least speak my voice, you know, whereas these commenters can't, who you're picking on. That's why it's wrong. If you're going to accuse me of doing any physical act and you have no evidence for it, it is slander. End of story. So I'm just not going to accept that anymore. I'm not going to allow you to harass people. I'm not going to allow you to incite violence, and you're not going to accuse people of breaking the law. I'm just not going to let you accuse people of breaking the law, especially not myself, when I clearly have not. So anyway, the craziest thing is that this whole me deleting comments that people are obsessed with right now, one, it's just more of what I've talked about before, where when you do have principles, people are desperate to find something wrong with that because they like to show, well, if you're flawed here, then this is why you shouldn't have principles. Like that's basically where that tactic comes from, which is a very abusive thing, because people can have principles and make mistakes. But the point is they get so desperate to find how you're not principled that they look for the pettiest of things to point out. I've seen this all throughout my life. It's a very common behavioral pattern with humans. And that's what's happened here. I pinned a comment from someone who was supporting me. They were literally a supporter. The comment was gone. So people were saying, you deleted the pinned comment because you pinned it and misquoted it. But the people who were saying I misquoted it were accusing the hardcore supporter of mine of misquoting them. So I'm like, well, which one of us did it if you're saying we did it? And can you point to it? And they don't. They never point to it because they're stupid. So, and they're like, we can't point to the comment because it's gone. Okay, but like you can still point to the person quoting it though, and they wouldn't. The hardcore supporter of mine went to do like this detective work, and they actually found the comment, and they were saying, no, that comment's gone too. The one that either of you, whichever one they mean, you were misquoting it. Now they're like saying, no, you said that they misquoted. It's just such a petty thing. This whole thing's petty, but they're like desperate to find something wrong with like my principles. So that's why they're just like, oh, see, you deleted a comment because you misquoted it. I have so many comments in my comment section. Why would I pick that of all comments to delete a pinned comment? It's just such a stupid thing. It doesn't make sense. So the person who's like very supportive of my channel found the comment. They didn't misquote it. The only word left out is the word or, which I think was at the beginning, like the very first word of the quote. Everything else is verbatim. It wasn't a misquote. The comment that they put up that is still there, even though they said that I deleted that to save myself the embarrassment of misquoting someone. I literally own up to my mistakes when I make them. If I misquoted someone, I would just say, oh, oops. Like, it's that simple. The comment that they said that's still there is maybe you just got triggered because she actually said her opinion that is different than yours, and now you got mad and decided to just throw a really stupid insult. But let me tell you, honey, nobody asked for your sorry to be here and throw random insults. There was no need for you to click her video just to put this insult low. Like, really, my guy, go get a life. And it's because this is what this guy has been doing. Like, he keeps going on to videos, not even talking about the video, just trying to slander. So I am going to, again, mix the advice together that I've been given. Some people say, just do this, just do that, don't do this, don't do that. You know, some people are like, oh, just ban him, don't say anything about it. Some people are saying, don't make a video addressing it because, you know, that's what he wants. He wants you to make a... I don't care if he wants it, okay? I don't care if he wants attention. It's not about him wanting attention. He's going to get attention regardless of what I do. Even me banning him gives him attention. He has an entire group of people who are hell-bent on supporting him and slandering me and other people. So I really don't care if he feels like this video is giving him attention. But that's what you get. You shouldn't have been bullying. So that's how I'm going to handle this issue. And I don't care if this video gives him attention, because you're not going to continue to break the law. You're not going to continue to falsely accuse me of breaking the law. You're not going to continue to harass people or bully people and think that it's okay. And yeah, it's my mess, and this is how I'm going to clean it. So the reason why I'm making this video is not to give anyone attention. It's because my entire channel is about talking about abuse tactics and people who are manipulative and why, in all sorts of situations, to point out this rotting mentality that we have in humanity. That's the entire point of my channel. So to tell me not to make a video on this situation just means that you're just not in support of my content in general, and that's not my problem. But this situation, even though the root of it is petty, it's such a petty situation, which is why I really didn't think it would get that out of hand. The point is, what it's become is something that's serious. And to just label it as one thing is to look at it in an absolute scenario. It's just petty. It's just serious. No, there's serious factors and petty factors. Accusing me of doing illegal things and pretending as if you have evidence when you don't is a very serious thing. And the fact that it's getting worse and worse means it's just going to be even worse down the road if I don't do something about it. So the main point of me making this video is the fact that these type of people exist in real life, and they do this stuff to people all the time. They take a petty scenario and they twist it and turn it against you and defame your character. That's the reason why I'm talking about this, because this is an actual tactic that people use, and I want to explain like why and, you know, like what's wrong with it and blah blah blah. And the fact that you're not crazy if someone's doing this to you, because one of the supporters that I have, you know, to be told that, you know, they didn't have evidence for this thing and because they got harassed. So it's like, that's why I'm making this. It's not for him. And if he feels like he's getting attention out of this, who cares? Like, oh well, if he's that desperate for this kind of attention, all I can do is pity him, you know? So it's whatever. Like, it's not about him. That's what he wants. He also wants me to delete his comments. But that's what needs to happen, so it doesn't matter what he wants. It literally doesn't matter what he wants. You know, I'm not doing this for his approval. I'm not doing this to please him. I'm not doing this to not please him. He does not matter. It's not about him. It's about the people who are affected by him and his little army of idiots. That's what it's about. So what he wants. So to just downplay this whole scenario and say, oh, it's a petty thing, is just a failing on your part. It's not just petty. It started off petty and it's becoming something very serious. This is not a typical you deleted comments scenario. This is becoming something more than what I normally see in those situations. So yes, it is serious. It's just someone's mowing their lawn, so I'm going to try to wrap this up, but it's just getting to the point where they're not even talking about the topics. Like, someone pointed out to me, they're like, they're not even talking about the topics. They're just going on to every video and start accusing you of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, it's ridiculous. So I'm just over it. I'm not going to deal with that anymore. I'm not going to put up with it. And even though this is happening at a bad time, I'm just going to do what is the best decision to me right now. And if I did make a mistake, if I look back on this and I regret one of those decisions, I'll just use it as a learning experience, because that's what you're supposed to do. You know, if you don't handle something the right way, just try to work on it more in the future. But right now, this seems like the right decision to say this out loud, to address what I do and don't have a problem with. So the main point is I just appreciate the support from everyone and the fact that people were comfortable enough to come up to me and have this discussion. I do appreciate talks like that because, you know, you don't have every perspective, so you have to listen to other people's perspective. I honestly didn't think that it was that big of a deal until I heard these type of things and saw it get this far out of hand. So that's why I just think it's important for people to share their opinions, even if it's a disagreeing thing. I know people are going to get mad with what's about to happen, but, you know, what you're doing is wrong. It's just objectively wrong. I've never done those things to people in my life, and I'm not being a hypocrite by doing them. There are certain cases where you aren't supposed to allow people to say things because it is censoring others. There's like so much noise going on outside, but yeah, so anyway, just thanks for the help. And I knew that those people who I was seeking out, those messed up people, would then share the video around, you know, and then the people who, I already explained this tactic and stuff. But yeah, like I knew that that's what I needed to do if I wanted to find those people. So I would deliberately do that knowing that it's going to get a bunch of dislikes. I know, I'm not stupid. I know that sharing a video about someone who I'm criticizing who has a rabid fan base directly to the fan base is not going to be taken well. And so when people are commenting saying, what, you know, all these people, like, you got all these dislikes and people hate your opinion, I'm like, I knew that was going to happen going in. Like, getting majority dislikes on a video doesn't mean that you're wrong. It means that people who don't like your video are sharing it. That's all it means. If you get likes, it means people who like your video are sharing it. Whether or not you're right or wrong is a different discussion within itself, and you just can't determine it based off of majority opinion, because all throughout history, people have been on the opposite side. We used to do human sacrifices, for God's sake. People don't know what they're talking about. We had the Salem witch trials. We've had you can't go with majority opinion for your morals. So I'd never cared about that stuff. But I found the audience that I need, and I don't even need to do that anymore, like share those videos. But through that process, I didn't handle it appropriately because I've never done this before, and I made a mess. So again, I apologize for what happened, and now I'm going to clean it up. And regardless of if this is the best way to get the job done or not, it's going to get it done. And I just don't have time to consider all the options because I'm just not going to be here. And yeah, so I don't know how long I'll be gone, but I'm just going to be putting up scheduled videos. Like, I'm going to schedule them all and just have them go up. I won't be really interacting with people here, but I will be on like my social media. So if you want to talk to me, go look at my social media and follow whatever is convenient for you. And we could talk there, but I just won't be using YouTube for a while because there's just too much stuff going on in my life, and YouTube is time consuming. Even looking at comments, the way you have to do it on YouTube is time consuming. Interacting with a live chat is time consuming. Editing, uploading, time consuming. I can't do it. So that's all I really have to say. I wonder how long this video is. It's like 30 minutes, but yeah, so thanks everybody. And yeah, I'll see you all whenever I get back. So bye.